I don't think Duke's run through the ACC tournament was dominant. And I watched it. I was there, saw it in person. I think it's almost more impressive than that. Because you take away Cooper Flagg, you take away Malik Brown, which is an underrated miss. If Cooper Flagg's not hurt, we're talking a lot about Malik Brown not being there for Duke. And they still win. And not only that, they win close games, right? That game against North Carolina, you needed to make one more winning play. That's what they were saying. And you can blame this, you can blame that, you can say UNC gave it away. The fact of the matter is they made one more winning play without what I consider the best basketball player in college basketball this year, Cooper Flagg. And because of that, I think they should have been the number 1 overall seed in the NCAA tournament. They earned it. They scheduled aggressively. They closed out the season on a heater. They obviously won their conference. Auburn, who is the number 1 overall, lost 3 of their last 4 games. Lost 5 all year, lost 3 in their last 4. And Duke beat them head-to-head earlier this year. So maybe Duke has a little chip on their shoulder. I'm not going to take that away from them, but here's the deal. You're playing in Raleigh, which would have been their first choice, right? Their location to open is down the street. They have number 2 Alabama in the Wisconsin, the 3rd seed in their region, but you're going to have to beat good teams to win a national title. You're not going to avoid them. The thing that Duke's team has done well this year that I don't know they've done in the recent past is they haven't made excuses. And I don't anticipate them starting now. Right? When they were losing the early games to Kentucky and Kansas, when injuries happened at the beginning of the ACC tournament, when Malik Brown missed time earlier in the year, you didn't hear excuses. And that, to me, is the difference here. Okay? There were a bunch of times they could have packed it in the ACC tournament. A bunch of Georgia Tech got up by a bunch on them, knocking down shots, and I literally said, and I think I tweeted this out, so I have some receipts here. I looked around and said, I've been saying this is a tougher mentally Duke team than last season, and we're going to find out right now. Right? Because if they pack it up, if they go in, if they start whining, if they blame refs, if they do all of this other stuff, there it is. Right? Then they're the same team from last season. They'll probably make it to the Elite Eight and they'll bow out. But that's not what happened. Their best player got hurt. Right? Their maybe best, most versatile defender, second best, most versatile defender gets hurt. They're down by a bunch and they come out on the other side victorious. And then it's Con Knipple and it's Tyrese Proctor and it's Kaman Malawash and it's Isaiah Evans off the bench and it's, a different guy every time. John Shire, talking to Blue Devil Sports Network, the head coach, on how he feels about the way his team responded to all of the challenges they faced in the tourney.
We've been in some interesting positions this year, John, and down double digits. Obviously tonight we closed the half not well. We're down 5, and I challenged them at halftime just to dig down on our toughness, and I thought we were just being a little soft, and that's not typical of who we've been. And, man, I'm telling you, every step of the way, this group has responded. They respond. In the second half, they came out, and you could tell they flipped the switch, and there was a different group.
That's not easy. It's not easy. So, I'm hearing all of this, that's how we started, all this dominant talk. Such a dominant run through the ACC. They won the games. Okay, don't get me wrong. They won 19 regular season out of 20 ACC conference games. They won every game they needed to win the ACC tournament. But there were a whole bunch of times I was watching and it felt shaky. A whole bunch of times there were those moments where you're like, maybe it's not. Maybe that injury is the one that does them in. Maybe that call by the ref is the one that does them in. Maybe that hot streak of shooting by their opponent does them in. Yet they found a way to pop out on the other side with a win for the most part. So dominant isn't how I would describe it. Impressive, yes. And maybe more battle-tested for the next round, right? For the NCAA tournament. More battle-tested, meaning they know, right? And like if Cooper Flagg gets hurt, that's bad. Don't get me wrong. Best player in the country. But they survived Cooper Flagg getting hurt. So if anyone else gets hurt, it's like, well, we did it without Coop. We can do it without so-and-so. And it's a cold-blooded, next man up sports mentality, but that's what it is. All right, we have to come back to beat this team. Well, we came back to beat Georgia Tech, or we almost gave it away in the second half against UNC, but we found a way. Like, they have experience to lean on, and they can be confident in those situations. I'm impressed. Haven't filled out my bracket yet, but before the season, right before anybody jumped on the bandwagon, I did say Duke was going to win the national championship, and I don't anticipate changing that. But again, haven't filled out my bracket yet.